Eleanor had always been sharp as a tack. At 88, she could remember the names of every grandchild's teacher, recall exactly where she placed her reading glasses, and never missed a doctor's appointment. But then something changed. She started forgetting simple words mid-sentence, walking into rooms and wondering why she was there, and feeling that terrifying fog creeping into her mind. Her family was worried. They whispered about nursing homes and lost independence. Eleanor felt like she was slowly disappearing, one forgotten moment at a time. That's when she met Dr. Harrison, a 90-year-old neurologist who had been studying brain health for over 6 decades. What he told her changed everything. "Eleanor," he said with a gentle smile, "your brain isn't broken, it's just undernourished, and I'm going to show you exactly how to feed it back to life." What happened next was remarkable. Within just 3 weeks of following Dr. Harrison's simple daily routine, Eleanor's mental clarity began returning. She could remember conversations, find her words again, and most importantly, she felt like herself. The secret wasn't expensive treatments or complicated procedures. It was something so simple, so natural, that most people overlook it completely. Today, I'm going to share Dr. Harrison's decades of research and the exact recipe he's used to help thousands of seniors reclaim their mental sharpness. Because here's the truth that the medical establishment doesn't want you to know. Memory loss and brain fog aren't inevitable parts of aging. They're often signs that your brain is crying out for specific nutrients it's not getting. Before we dive in, I'd love to know where you're watching from today. Drop a comment below and tell me about your own memory concerns. Are you experiencing brain fog, forgetting names or words? I read every comment, and your story might help someone else in our community. Now, let's start with something that might surprise you. Dr. Harrison's first discovery came not in a laboratory, but in a small village in Greece, where he noticed something extraordinary. During his research trips in the 1980s, Dr. Harrison kept encountering elderly residents who seemed immune to the memory problems plaguing their peers in other parts of the world. These weren't wealthy people with access to cutting-edge medicine. They were simple farmers and fishermen, some well into their 90s, who could recite complex family histories, remember intricate recipes passed down through generations, and navigate their villages with crystal-clear mental maps. What made them different? Dr. Harrison spent months studying their daily habits, their diets, their lifestyles, and what he found revolutionized his understanding of brain health. These sharp-minded elders all shared one common practice. They consumed specific brain-nourishing foods every single day, foods that modern science has now proven can actually reverse cognitive decline. The first food in Dr. Harrison's brain health recipe might be sitting in your kitchen right now, yet most people completely ignore its incredible power for mental clarity. I'm talking about walnuts, but not just any walnuts, and not just eating them occasionally. Dr. Harrison discovered that consuming exactly 7 walnuts every morning on an empty stomach could dramatically improve memory function within weeks. Here's why this works, and why the timing matters so much. Walnuts are one of the richest sources of alpha-linolenic acid, a type of omega-3 fatty acid that your brain desperately needs to build and repair neural pathways. When you eat them first thing in the morning, before any other food, your body can absorb these omega-3s more efficiently, sending them directly to your brain where they're needed most. But there's something even more fascinating. The shape of a walnut isn't just a coincidence. Traditional medicine has long recognized the walnut's resemblance to the human brain, and modern science confirms what ancient healers suspected. Walnuts contain compounds that specifically benefit brain tissue. They're loaded with vitamin E, which protects brain cells from oxidative damage, and antioxidants that fight the inflammation linked to memory loss. Dr. Harrison's research showed that people who ate 7 walnuts every morning for just 3 weeks demonstrated measurable improvements in working memory, processing speed, and cognitive flexibility. The key is consistency and timing. 7 walnuts every morning on an empty stomach followed by a glass of water. Let me tell you about Margaret, one of Dr. Harrison's patients. At 74, she had been struggling with what her doctor dismissed as normal aging. She couldn't remember her grandchildren's names during visits, lost her train of thought mid-conversation, and felt increasingly isolated and embarrassed. After just 2 weeks of following the Walnut protocol, Margaret called Dr. Harrison in tears, but these were tears of joy. She had just spent an entire afternoon with her family, remembering stories, engaging in complex conversations, and feeling mentally present for the first time in months. The second component of Dr. Harrison's recipe addresses something that 90% of seniors are deficient in, yet it's absolutely crucial for brain function. We're talking about vitamin B12, but not just any B12. Dr. Harrison discovered that the form and delivery method of this vitamin can mean the difference between continued cognitive decline and restored mental sharpness. As we age, our bodies become less efficient at absorbing B12 from food sources. The stomach acid needed to extract B12 from proteins decreases with age, and many medications commonly prescribed to seniors further interfere with absorption. This creates a vicious cycle. The brain becomes starved of B12, leading to memory problems, confusion, and that frustrating mental fog that so many people accept as inevitable. But here's what Dr. Harrison learned from his decades of research. Sublingual B12, the kind that dissolves under your tongue, bypasses the digestive system entirely and goes straight into your bloodstream. He recommends a specific protocol, 1,000 micrograms of methylcobalamin B12, dissolved under the tongue every morning, right after eating those 7 walnuts. The transformation can be dramatic. B12 is essential for the production of myelin, the protective coating around nerve fibers that allows electrical signals to travel efficiently through your brain. Without adequate B12, these signals slow down, creating the processing delays and memory lapses that make people feel like their minds are failing them. I want to share Robert's story with you. Robert was 82 when his daughter brought him to see Dr. Harrison. He had been making dangerous mistakes, leaving the stove on, forgetting to take his medications, getting lost in his own neighborhood. His family was preparing to take away his independence. Dr. Harrison tested Robert's B12 levels and found they were critically low, despite Robert taking oral B12 supplements for years. Within 1 month of switching to sublingual B12 and adding the walnut routine, Robert's mental clarity began returning. He started remembering appointments, engaging in meaningful conversations again, and most importantly, he regained his confidence. His family was amazed, but Dr. Harrison wasn't surprised. He had seen this transformation hundreds of times when the brain finally gets the nutrients it's been starving for. The third element of Dr. Harrison's recipe is perhaps the most surprising because it involves something most people throw away without a second thought. I'm talking about the humble eggshell. Yes, you heard that right. But before you think this sounds crazy, let me explain the science behind why Dr. Harrison considers properly prepared eggshell powder to be one of the most powerful brain-boosting supplements on Earth. Eggshells are 95% calcium carbonate, but they also contain trace amounts of magnesium, phosphorus, and other minerals in a natural crystalline structure that's remarkably similar to human bones and teeth. What Dr. Harrison discovered is that this natural form of calcium is not only easily absorbed by the body, but it also plays a crucial role in neurotransmitter function and neural communication. Here's the connection most people miss. Calcium isn't just for bones. It's essential for the electrical activity in your brain. Every thought, every memory, every moment of mental clarity depends on calcium ions moving in and out of brain cells. When you're deficient in bioavailable calcium, Your neurons can't fire properly, leading to the mental sluggishness and memory problems that plague so many seniors. But you can't just eat any calcium supplement. Most commercial calcium supplements use forms that are poorly absorbed and can even accumulate in arteries, causing cardiovascular problems. Eggshell calcium, when properly prepared, is different. It's in the exact form your body recognizes and can use immediately. Dr. Harrison's protocol is specific. Save eggshells from organic free-range eggs, wash them thoroughly, remove any remaining membrane, then bake them at 200 degrees for 10 minutes to eliminate any potential bacteria. Once cooled, grind them into a fine powder using a coffee grinder dedicated to this purpose. Just half a teaspoon of this powder, mixed into a glass of water or juice, provides approximately 400 milliliters of highly bioavailable calcium. The timing is important here too. Dr. Harrison recommends taking the eggshell calcium in the evening, about an hour before bed. This is when your body naturally repairs and regenerates brain tissue, and having optimal calcium levels during this process can significantly enhance memory consolidation and cognitive recovery. Let me tell you about Dorothy, a 79-year-old retired teacher who had been struggling with what she called tip-of-the-tongue syndrome. She could visualize faces and concepts clearly, but couldn't access the words to express them. It was destroying her confidence and making her avoid social situations she had once enjoyed. After 6 weeks of following Dr. Harrison's complete protocol, including the eggshell calcium, Dorothy experienced what she described as a mental renaissance. Words came easily again, conversations flowed naturally, and she felt intellectually engaged for the first time in years. Now, the fourth component of Dr. Harrison's recipe might seem unusual, but it's based on cutting-edge research about the gut-brain connection that has revolutionized our understanding of cognitive health. We're talking about fermented foods, but not just any fermented foods. Dr. Harrison identified specific probiotic strains that have direct communication pathways to the brain, and incorporating them into your daily routine can have profound effects on mental clarity and memory. Your gut and brain are connected by what scientists call the vagus nerve, a superhighway of communication that carries signals back and forth between your digestive system and your brain. What many people don't realize is that certain bacteria in your gut produce neurotransmitters like serotonin, dopamine, and GABA that directly affect your mood, memory, and cognitive function. Dr. Harrison's research identified that seniors with the sharpest minds consistently had higher levels of specific bacterial strains in their gut microbiome. The problem is that as we age, antibiotic use, processed foods, and stress systematically destroy these beneficial bacteria, creating an environment where harmful microbes dominate and brain function suffers. The solution is targeted probiotic intervention, and Dr. Harrison found that certain fermented foods are far more effective than expensive probiotic supplements. His preferred source is traditionally fermented sauerkraut, but it must be the real thing, raw, unpasteurized, and naturally fermented for at least 4 weeks. Just 2 tablespoons of this living sauerkraut every day with lunch provides billions of beneficial bacteria that quickly colonize your gut and begin sending positive signals to your brain. The key is consistency and quality. Most store-bought sauerkraut is pasteurized, which kills all the beneficial bacteria, making it useless for brain health. For those who can't tolerate sauerkraut, Dr. Harrison also recommends kefir made from raw milk or naturally fermented pickles. The goal is to introduce living, beneficial bacteria that will restore the gut-brain communication pathway and support optimal cognitive function. James, a 76-year-old retired engineer, had been experiencing what he called brain static for over 2 years. He described it as having multiple radio stations playing in his head at once, making it impossible to focus or think clearly. Traditional treatments had failed, but within 6 weeks of adding fermented foods to Dr. Harrison's protocol, James reported that the mental static had cleared completely. His wife said it was like having her husband back after years of watching him struggle with cognitive confusion. The fifth and perhaps most powerful component of Dr. Harrison's recipe involves something that costs nothing, but provides benefits that no expensive supplement can match. I'm talking about structured breathing exercises that literally rewire your brain for enhanced memory and cognitive performance. Dr. Harrison discovered this connection during his study of meditation practitioners who seemed to maintain sharp mental faculties well into their 90s and beyond. He found that specific breathing patterns increase oxygen delivery to the brain, while simultaneously activating the parasympathetic nervous system, creating optimal conditions for memory formation and recall. The technique is deceptively simple, but incredibly powerful. Dr. Harrison calls it the 4-7-8 brain reset, and it should be performed 3 times daily, upon waking, before lunch, and before bed. Here's how it works. Inhale through your nose for exactly 4 counts, hold your breath for 7 counts, then exhale through your mouth for 8 counts. Repeat this cycle 4 times during each session. What's happening during this breathing pattern is remarkable. The extended exhale activates your vagus nerve, which signals your brain to enter a state of calm alertness that's optimal for learning and memory consolidation. The breath-holding phase increases carbon dioxide in your blood, which triggers vasodilation and increases blood flow to your brain. This enhanced circulation delivers fresh oxygen and nutrients while clearing metabolic waste that can interfere with cognitive function. But the benefits go deeper than just increased blood flow. This breathing pattern also stimulates the production of BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which acts like fertilizer for brain cells, encouraging the growth of new neural connections and protecting existing ones from age-related damage. Dr. Harrison has documented cases where people practicing this breathing technique for just 2 weeks showed measurable improvements in attention span, working memory, and processing speed. The key is consistency and precision. The timing of each phase matters, and the practice must be done regularly to create lasting changes in brain function. Patricia, an 81-year-old widow, had been struggling with severe memory lapses that left her feeling frightened and confused. She would start sentences and forget what she was saying, misplace important items, and feel increasingly disconnected from her own thoughts. After learning Dr. Harrison's breathing technique and practicing it religiously for 3 weeks, Patricia experienced what she described as mental awakening. Her memory sharpened, her thinking became clearer, and she regained the confidence to live independently. Now, let's talk about the 6th component of Dr. Harrison's protocol, something that addresses one of the most overlooked causes of memory problems in seniors: chronic dehydration. But this isn't just about drinking more water. Dr. Harrison discovered that the type of water you drink, when you drink it, and what you add to it can dramatically affect brain function and cognitive performance. Most seniors are chronically dehydrated without realizing it. The sensation of thirst diminishes with age, kidney function declines, and many people avoid drinking fluids because of concerns about frequent urination or incontinence. But even mild dehydration can shrink brain tissue, reduce blood flow to the brain, and impair memory formation. Dr. Harrison's hydration protocol is specific and powerful. Upon waking, before consuming anything else, drink 16 ounces of room-temperature water with a pinch of high-quality sea salt and fresh lemon juice. This combination does several important things. The sea salt provides essential electrolytes that help your cells actually absorb and use the water. The lemon provides vitamin C and citric acid that support neurotransmitter production, and the room temperature prevents shocking your system awake. Throughout the day, Dr. Harrison recommends sipping water consistently rather than drinking large amounts infrequently. The goal is to maintain steady hydration that keeps your brain tissue plump and your blood flowing smoothly. He also emphasizes avoiding tap water when possible, as chlorine and fluoride can interfere with neurotransmitter function over time. But here's the part that surprised me most about Dr. Harrison's hydration research. He found that people who followed his specific hydration protocol showed improvements in memory recall within just 48 hours. The brain is 75% water, and when it's properly hydrated, electrical signals travel more efficiently, nutrients are delivered more effectively, and waste products are cleared more rapidly. The seventh and final component of Dr. Harrison's recipe involves strategic exposure to specific wavelengths of light that can literally reset your brain's circadian rhythms and enhance cognitive function. This discovery came from Dr. Harrison's observation that seniors who spent time outdoors in natural sunlight consistently performed better on memory tests than those who stayed indoors under artificial lighting. The connection between light and brain function is profound but poorly understood by most people. Your brain has photoreceptors that respond to different wavelengths of light, and these receptors control not just your sleep-wake cycle, but also the production of hormones and neurotransmitters that affect memory, mood, and cognitive performance. Dr. Harrison's light protocol is straightforward but must be followed precisely. Within 1 hour of waking, spend at least 15 minutes outdoors in natural sunlight without sunglasses, allowing the light to enter your eyes directly. This morning light exposure helps reset your circadian clock and triggers the production of cortisol and other hormones that support alertness and memory formation. In the evening, about 2 hours before bed, eliminate all blue light from screens and artificial lighting. Instead, use warm, dim lighting that signals to your brain that it's time to prepare for sleep and memory consolidation. Dr. Harrison found that people who followed this light protocol showed significant improvements in both memory formation and recall within just 1 week. The science behind this is fascinating. Morning light exposure increases the production of acetylcholine, a neurotransmitter crucial for attention and learning. Evening light restriction allows for optimal melatonin production, which not only helps you sleep, but also acts as a powerful antioxidant that protects brain cells from damage during overnight repair processes. Now, let me share with you the complete Dr. Harrison protocol as a simple daily routine that you can start implementing immediately. This is the exact sequence that has helped thousands of seniors reclaim their mental sharpness and confidence. Upon waking, start with the 4 to 7 to 8 breathing exercise, 4 complete cycles. Then, within 15 minutes, eat your 7 walnuts on an empty stomach, followed by 1,000 micrograms of sublingual B12 under your tongue. Drink your 16 ounces of salt and lemon water, then spend 15 minutes outdoors in natural sunlight. With lunch, consume 2 tablespoons of raw fermented sauerkraut and repeat the 4 to 7, 8 breathing exercise. Continue sipping water throughout the day, aiming for proper hydration without overwhelming your system. In the evening, about an hour before bed, take your half teaspoon of eggshell calcium powder mixed in water or juice. Eliminate blue light exposure and perform your final 4, 7, 8 breathing session before sleep. This routine takes less than 30 minutes total throughout your day, costs almost nothing, and uses ingredients you can find in any grocery store or prepare at home. Yet the results can be life-changing. Dr. Harrison has documented thousands of cases where people following this protocol experience significant cognitive improvements within 2 to 4 weeks. Memory recall improved, mental fog lifted, word-finding became easier, and that frightening sense of mental decline reversed itself. But perhaps the most important thing Dr. Harrison taught me is this: your brain wants to heal itself. It wants to be sharp, clear, and fully functional. You just have to give it the right tools and conditions. Memory loss and cognitive decline aren't inevitable parts of aging. They're often signs that your brain is malnourished, dehydrated, oxygen deprived, or operating in an environment that doesn't support optimal function. The beautiful thing about Dr. Harrison's approach is that it works with your body's natural healing mechanisms rather than against them. You're not forcing artificial changes or relying on pharmaceutical interventions. You're simply providing your brain with what it needs to function at its best. I want to emphasize that this protocol is safe for most people, but if you're taking medications or have serious health conditions, please consult with your healthcare provider before making significant changes to your routine. Dr. Harrison always emphasized that this approach works best when integrated with, not as a replacement for, appropriate medical care. What I find most inspiring about Dr. Harrison's work is that it gives hope to millions of seniors who have been told that memory loss is just something they have to accept. At 90 years old, Dr. Harrison himself was living proof that the brain can remain sharp and fully functional throughout life when properly nourished and cared for. He often told his patients that the brain is like a garden. Neglect it, and weeds of confusion and forgetfulness will take over. But tend it with the right nutrients, water it properly, give it adequate light, and it will flourish with clarity and wisdom that only comes with age and experience. The choice is yours. You can accept memory problems as inevitable, or you can take action today to nourish your brain back to health. Dr. Harrison's 90 years of life and 60 years of research have given us a roadmap. All we have to do is follow it. If you found this information helpful, I'd love to hear about your own experiences with memory and brain health. Have you tried any of these approaches? What changes have you noticed? Your story could inspire someone else who's struggling with similar challenges. Remember, your brain has carried you through decades of life, learning and growth. It deserves the same care and attention you would give to any other part of your body that served you faithfully. With Dr. Harrison's simple but powerful protocol, you can give your brain the tools it needs to stay sharp, clear, and fully engaged with life for years to come. The journey back to mental clarity starts with a single step, or in this case, a single walnut. Why not start tomorrow morning and see what your brain is truly capable of when it's properly nourished and cared for? You might be amazed at the sharp, confident, mentally agile person who's been waiting inside you all along.